Well, let's bring in the retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Rob Spalding. He joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. What does this mean to you? What does this mean to the troops? I don't know if you were ever deployed and the commander-in-chief came in or someone famous walked in the door. You're out there in the middle of the desert. You've left your family. What does this mean for morale?
Well, this is fantastic. You know, you swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and you're out there defending that. And the president comes through and really shows what national security is. It's a real easy formula: protect, rebuild, and inspire. You know, he's protecting the country. He brought the Chinese economy to its knees and then showed the Iranians, if they didn't deal, what would happen to them. And then he comes in and he makes this huge economic deal, trillions of dollars of manufacturing. And then what he's going to tell the troops is, look at what we're building in America. They're not all going to stay in the service. They're going to go back to their homes and they're going to have jobs. That's what it's really about, restoring the American dream. So it's just an amazing trip.
What about that base in particular, built in 2001? The Qataris paid for all of it. They pick up 60% of all the expenses. What about the role it plays in Middle East affairs?
Oh, it's absolutely the linchpin in the Middle East for everything that we do. Al Udeid is the place where every operation begins and ends from in that region. And so they're doing a vital mission to support our country.
General, what message does it send to the troops when the commander-in-chief say, listen, I value your life. I don't want to send you into combat, but I want you to be tough. I want you to be strong. I'm going to give you all the funding and resources that you need to be a deterrent mechanism, but I don't want to have to do it. But if I have to, I will.
Well, I think they have a lot of trust because when he uses the troops, he uses them in the right way. I'll take you all the way back to General Soleimani, who was the architect of a lot of American deaths in Iraq. And the president just went in and took him out. And I think that's the type of determination that you need in a leader. And the support in terms of the budget, it's important. But, really, when the rubber meets the road, you want to know that your leader is going to send you in to do the job, the right job, and then bring you home.
So, General, the thing that stumps out to me is it looks like the President of the United States says that they're making some inroads when it comes to Iran and refusing and maybe committing to not enriching. But since 1979, we have not been able to believe that country. How many Americans have they killed with their AFPs, what they've done, the insidious nature of what they've done in Iraq when we went in there? Any progress we made, they would try to unearth it, still trying to dominate in the region. What they've done with Hezbollah and Hamas and Israel. Why are we to believe that they suddenly will suddenly be believable and trustworthy?
Oh, we shouldn't. We absolutely shouldn't believe them any farther than we believe the Chinese or the Russians. What we have to do is put in measures in place that keeps them in check. And that's what he's been doing with the Arab Gulf states and creating peace between them and Israel and really focusing on commerce is the way to reduce the opportunity that Iran has to really use its resources in the region.
But, General, they're not, I'm so sorry, Ainsley, but they're not going to just pause, though, right, General? I know it may be a temporary thing, but it's an ideology standpoint. It's religious in nature. So the idea that economics alone will stop them, I don't think it's true. What do you make of that?
No, I agree. The Iranians aren't going to stop. What you're trying to do is create the conditions on the ground so that a lot of our allies and partners are on our side in helping us. So we don't want to take on this burden alone. And like I said, no, you can't trust them. You can't trust any of the bad actors. They are going to continue to pursue their interests. What you want to reduce is the resources they have with which to pursue that. So shutting down and closing down the avenues to get any kind of money or resources is what we need to do. And I think that's what's going to help us in the region.
General, I know you are you're a B-2 stealth bomber pilot, retired, and this morning, the president was even talking about the stealths. He was also talking, he was flanked by two men. One's the CEO of Boeing and one's the CEO of GE. And Qatar Airways has committed to buying 160 airplanes from Boeing. And they're going to buy the GE Aerospace engines. They chose those over the Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines. They're ordering 400 of those GE engines. What does this mean?
Oh, it's huge. You know, it's 160,000 something jobs in America, I think, that comes out of that deal. So it's super important. And again, the message to the troops is the American dream is back. You're going to have jobs when you go back if you decide not to stay in the military. So I think it's super important.
So the thing that I worry about is, you know, we have all these pledges of money, and they want $600 billion worth of military hardware from America and Saudi Arabia. We got Boeing's got over 100 planes they got to deliver. They've shown no ability to mass produce these weapons. There's been frustration from paying customers on the pace in which we're delivering. Air Force Two, Air Force One is an example of the president's frustration. How do we address this quickly?
Well, I think Boeing is getting back to its roots with its really engineering and manufacturing. You know, I think they're back on a path to being fully recovered and producing airplanes. So I think, yeah, they've gotten a bad rap, but they're also doing the things I think it takes to fix that. And I think it's a trend happening in the United States. You know, manufacturing is coming back. I know that the pundits want to say it's not, but I can tell you, our company is involved in it. So
what company is that? What company is that?
I run Semper, and we provide secure, hardened infrastructure, digital infrastructure for factories where Boeing manufactures things. So I can tell you we're back as a manufacturing nation.
General, what do you make of what's happening around the world? We saw India and Pakistan with a ceasefire, Israel, and we saw our hostage come home, the last living American come home. We're seeing maybe talks today between Putin and Zelensky. It looks like Zelensky is just on the ground. Chris, is that in Turkey? He's just landed in Istanbul, it looks like. So what do you make of and we saw what's happening in the Middle East with President Trump visiting these 3 Gulf states. What do you make of all of this as a big picture for America?
Yeah, you remember that scene in The Matrix when Neo finally awakens and gets up and he kind of stretches his muscles and the world just rebounds around him? The world is rebounding around the president and America. I mean, you can feel the strength just pouring out of this trip.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to bring up quick. What do you think it says that Zelensky shows up? And Lawrence, I don't think Vladimir Putin is showing
Brian,
up.
You read my mind. I was just going to ask the general that Putin is not going to show up. What position does that put the United States in now, General? It looks like the president gave him enough rope to hang himself, and now he's decided after he called the meeting, and doesn't show up.
The president alluded this morning that he might go on Friday if a deal is done. But he said, I don't think Putin will show up if I'm not showing up.
Well, guys, you know, I think the biggest thing that's been frustrating to me is we've been funding both sides of this war. We've been funding the Russians through the Chinese. And what the president said to China is, we're going to shut you down if you don't do what we want. And I think Russia and Putin have to understand that, because if China gets shut down, they're shut down. And so I think we hold all the cards. Like the president said, he really holds all the cards to this because we fund, you know, in many ways Ukraine, and we fund the Russians. So he's basically showing them that he's going to cut them off if they don't come to terms. And Putin doesn't have that much, you know, options here. He has to figure out where he can get out of this. Right. And I think the president is going to bring him to the table eventually.
So, guys, just so you know, it looks like President Zelensky's landed in Turkey, addressed the press, and
he's
went
ready
inside.
to go.
The thing is, does he actually go out? He's got the Russian delegation there is without even Lavrov, their foreign minister. Mm-hmm. So does he go and meet one-on-one with people way below his rank? You usually don't do that. Or
but it shows his people. Look, exactly. I'm here. I'm willing to negotiate. The other side is not.
After they called the meeting. General, thanks so much for joining the
more
program.
important, it shows the president that, you know, Zelensky made the effort. And so now the president is going to have to put the pressure on Putin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Zelensky's behavior, his comments, have really won the president over of late, especially over the last few months, since the meltdown at the Oval Office. Thanks, General.
Thank you so much, General, for your service.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.